Thank you, Whitaker. Welcome to the Unitarian Universalist Fellowship of Columbus, an inclusive spiritual community of people who support each other in their personal search for truth and meaning. I'm Rick Spradlin, your service leader, and also I'll be your speaker today. And later on, I'll be presenting a brief introduction to Hinduism, the world's oldest religion. We'll also be hearing a reading from one of our long-distance members, Danielle Neal in Pennsylvania, plus more music from Whitaker. We have some announcements now, beginning with Zoom instructions from our technology coordinator, David Rush. David?
As usual, we are recording this now, and we'll be posting it to YouTube for the benefit of those who are not able to join us today. So if you're interested in not having your face show up on YouTube, you can click on the stop video button, and we'll still see your name, but not possibly your face. Of course, we like seeing faces, so if you're happy leaving it on, that's a good thing. And after the closing musical number, we will stop recording and we'll have a Q&A time about our topic, as well as a social hour, which it usually turns into. That's all. Back to you, Rick.
Okay, we have the following announcements this morning. First off, tomorrow, March 8th, is International Women's Day, a global day of celebrating the social, economic, cultural, and political achievements of women. The day also marks a call to action for accelerating women's equality. And March is Women's History Month. March 28th, we'll have a program related to women's history. Also, we'll be continuing to collect for the Homeless Resource Network, Pas Amigos, and Feeding the Valley. Next week, our speaker will be Gwen Rush, and her topic will be a healthy environment as a human right. Our next board meeting will be next Wednesday, March 17th at 10:30 a.m. And Columbus Shred Day will be held next month, April 17th at Columbus Tech from 8:30 a.m. until 11. This is a service sponsored by the Better Business Bureau to shred your sensitive documents. The limit is 3 bags per car. No metal objects or 3-ring binders, please. Place your bags in your trunk and the attendant will retrieve them. Columbus Tech is located at 928 Manchester Expressway. Also, don't forget that next Sunday is Daylight Savings, so spring forward. And now for the lighting of our chalice. We begin our services by lighting the chalice, which symbolizes reason, tolerance, and freedom, and also compassion, justice, and love. May its flame ever warm and illuminate our lives. And now, let us once again affirm the 7 principles which sum up the core values that Unitarian Universalist congregations support and promote. Please read them along with me. Number 1, the inherent worth and dignity of every person. Number 2, justice, equity, and compassion in human relations. Number 3, the acceptance of one another and the encouragement to spiritual growth in our congregations. Number 4, the free and responsible search for truth and meaning. Number 5, the right of conscience and the use of the democratic process in our congregations and in society at large. Number 6, the goal of world community with peace, liberty, and justice for all. And number 7, respect for the interdependent web of all existence of which we are a part. And now, one of the ways we proclaim the vitality of our fellowship is through sharing brief and personal joys and concerns. Please note, this is not a time for announcements or commercials or politics. Rather, it's a time to share what's important in our own lives. We'll start by lighting a candle for sorrows or concerns you might not want to share in public. We also have a request from Harry Underwood to light a chalice for the family and friends of Joey Traina, a member of Augustus UU and progressive activist who died last month of COVID-related symptoms at age 33. And Bill Harlan has asked us to light a candle for his friend Randy in South Dakota, who is recovering from surgery and is facing a long recovery. I'll jump in quickly with a joy. Our grandson Max celebrated his birthday this past week. Little Max is 1 year old now. Okay, so now we'll move on to our celebration of life toast, unique to this fellowship. And we do it a little differently on Zoom. You can join in with your cup of coffee or another beverage. Our toast carries no doctrinal symbolism. It's not a sacrament. It's simply a warm tradition, and we invite you to share it with us. Please lift your cups. I'll read the toast, and then we'll all join in on the last line. We celebrate life. We celebrate life with its beauty and its pain. We lift these cups in tribute to the achievements of human minds and hands and in sensitivity to the frustrations of misfortune and heartache. Not fixing blame or credit for the outcome of chance, sensing the risk, savoring the joy, sharing it all. Knowing of the certainty of death and remembering the value of each moment, we drink our toast of celebration to this time, to the future, to each other, to the throbbing of the earth and sea and sky with life. Together, we drink this toast in celebration of life. And now this morning's offering will be given and received in the spirit of grateful fellowship. You can mail offerings to UUFC at Box 698, Fortson, Georgia 31808. Or you can use PayPal. If you're using PayPal, hit Send Money and put as the recipient our email address, uufcga@gmail.com. While you're doing that, Whitaker and Thomas will play Song of India. And now a reading from one of our members, Danielle Neal.
Thank you for joining me today. I wanted to record in front of the Peace Abbey in Sherburne, Massachusetts. However, the road noise became too much of a challenge. So instead, I've taken this picture of Mahatma Gandhi that they have presented at the front of the Abbey, and I've chosen a reading by Mahatma Gandhi called Law of Love. I have found that life persists in the midst of destruction. Therefore, there must be a higher law than that of destruction. Only under that law would well-ordered society be intelligible and life worth living. If that is the law of life, we must work it out in daily existence. Wherever there are wars, wherever we are confronted with an opponent, conquer by love. I've found that the certain law of love has answered in my own life as the law of destruction has never done. It takes a fairly strenuous course of training to attain a mental state of nonviolence. It is a disciplined life, like the life of a soldier. The perfect state is reached only when the mind, body, and speech are in proper coordination. Every problem would lend itself to solution if we are determined to make the law of truth and nonviolence the law of life. Just as a scientist will work wonders out of various applications of the laws of nature, a man who applies the laws of love with scientific precision can work greater wonders. Nonviolence is infinitely more wonderful and subtle than forces of nature like, for instance, electricity. The law of love is a far greater science than any modern science. Thank you for listening, and I hope you have a great rest of your day.
Good morning. Today, we're going to be taking a look at Hinduism, the world's oldest family of religions. Now, I say family because Hinduism is, in fact, not a single religion, but a common name given as a generic term for all the religions that originated in the subcontinent of India. The early Vedic religion, or Brahmanism, of the ancient Indo-Aryan culture spread across India some 5,000 years ago and took on various adaptations as it was assimilated into the many languages and cultures of that ancient time. Hinduism is the practices of a variety of different religious groups that all came out of India. The term Hindu was in fact given to the people and culture of India by the first Muslims to reach the subcontinent, and the people of India have come to accept it. They only usually describe themselves as Hindu when speaking English. Now, I'm still struggling to understand this fascinating faith, but what has helped me the most in just gaining a rudimentary grasp of Hinduism was when I realized that it's not really a polytheistic religion, as I had always been led to believe. Polytheism is the belief in many gods and the worship of many gods. Now, a Hinduism can be better understood as a henotheistic religion. So, henotheism is the belief in many gods while only worshiping one. Hindus believe in only one supreme God, and that's Brahman. But they believe that Brahman takes on many forms in order to interact with the universe. The many gods of Hinduism are just different manifestations of Brahman. Some people can relate to one manifestation or God easier than they can relate to others. It was written in the Vedas that there are 33 main gods, but it's also always been understood that everything, every living thing, and every inanimate object has a spark of the divine, a spark of Brahman inside. Therefore, it can be said that in Hinduism, everything in some way is holy. Hinduism can also be understood as a form of panentheism. Panentheism is the belief that the divine pervades and interpenetrates every part of the universe and also extends beyond space and time. The universe is Brahman, but Brahman is more than the universe. Brahman extends beyond the universe. Brahman is eternal, therefore the universe is eternal. Cycles play a huge role in Hinduism. What science refers to as the beginning of the universe, the Big Bang, in Hinduism would have been the moment that the universe changed into what it is today rather than its actual beginning. So rather than getting bogged down in the many different names of Hindu gods, it's probably best to just start with the three main manifestations of Brahman. There's Brahma, the creator, Shiva, the god of destruction, and Vishnu, the god of keeping the universe together in balance and harmony. Just as Brahma, Vishnu, and Shiva are manifestations of Brahman, all other gods are avatars of one of these three. A simple way to think of it is to imagine all the different people that it takes to run a city government. Okay? You have your mayor, your city council, police department, fire, waterworks, clerks, etc. Now think about how many levels of government there are in a single state and a single country, and then all the countries of the world together. These are all avatars of government that it takes to run a planet. So Brahman uses many, many, many avatars to run the universe. In Hinduism, all roads lead to Brahman. All existence flows from Brahman, and all existence flows back to Brahman. The names that people use to help them relate to or understand creation isn't considered relevant. Hindus may disagree on which name best describes the truest nature of God, but they believe that all names have enough truth that arguing isn't worth it. Hindus believe that there is a part of Brahman in everyone, and this spark they call the Atman. A common symbol for Hinduism is the Om, a symbol representing the sacred sound often used in meditation. Although there are many different traditions in Hinduism, there are some common beliefs that are held throughout. Reincarnation is one. Reincarnation is the belief that the soul is eternal and lives many lifetimes in one body after another. The soul is sometimes born in a human body, sometimes an animal, and sometimes in a plant. Some believe that once a soul has worked its way up to a human body, then it will remain human from one life to another, while others believe that a soul can return to any living thing. Hindus believe that all souls have the chance to experience life in its many different forms through a constant cycle of birth and death called samsara. The manner in which a soul returns is governed by the law of karma. Karma can be understood by the expressions, what goes around comes around, or you reap what you sow. Our actions in life determine our fate in the next life. You should live in such a way that will cause your life to be better in the next. Another commonly held belief is that truth is timeless, infinite, and unique, but truth can be expressed in different ways and can be reached by using different methods. From a Hindu point of view, there are endless ways of valid worshiping. What matters is how your worship causes you to behave. All religions are considered valid ways of reaching God. This emphasis on behavior over belief leans Hinduism more towards orthopraxy rather than orthodoxy, with orthopraxy meaning correct actions and orthodoxy, meaning correct belief. There are 4 basic goals in all forms of Hinduism. Artha, meaning wealth, Kama, meaning desire, Dharma, righteousness, and Moksha, which means liberation. These are seen as the 4 basic goals of all mankind. Wealth, or Artha, refers to gathering what you need without harm. So for this, think about a bee gathering pollen to make honey. As it gathers, the bee does no harm to the flowers. In fact, it actually helps the flowers by pollinating them. It's a basic human need to gather wealth, but it should be done without harm. Now, this is why many Hindus are vegetarian, even though the religion doesn't strictly require them to be vegetarian. The next is desire, or Kama. The goal of desire refers to a mutually supportive, loving relationship, finding someone to share a life with. On the issue of homosexuality, Hinduism has many diverse views. While some texts refer to homosexuality as a sin, other texts refer to it as a joyful expression of human sexuality. The Karma Sutra, for example, affirms and recognizes same-sex relationships, and there are many temples that have carvings on the walls that depict both men and women engaging in homosexual acts. Also, there are some Hindu deities that are illustrated in such a way that many believe it gives them a look within the LGBT spectrum. Deities that look like hermaphrodites, a blend of male and female. The third goal is Dharma, which means righteousness, the moral order of the universe, a code of living that embodies all fundamental principles of law, religion, and duty. Dharma simply means to act virtuously and righteously. Moksha, liberation from samsara, means liberation from that constant recycling of death and birth. Moksha is the same as nirvana. To achieve moksha, you must work your way through the stages of life. When you're young, you learn to enjoy family life. When you're older, you can begin to distance yourself from worldly affairs, both mentally and physically. By thinking and meditating on nothing but God in your final years, a Hindu may hope to move onto Moksha Loka, the liberated world, the ultimate realm of Lord Vishnu, where you can be reunited with Brahman. Hinduism is believed to be at least 5,000 years old. Some claim that it's older. And like any other religion that has survived for thousands of years, Hinduism has changed and adapted to the march of progress. One of the most controversial aspects of Hinduism that still exists today is the caste system that divides society into 4 professional hierarchies. The top hierarchy is made up of religious clergy. Just below them, the second class is made up of warriors and the ruling class. The third caste are merchants, and the fourth is filled with servants. Outside the 4 castes are the Untouchables. The Untouchables do the dirty work, such as cleaning toilets, and were shunned from the rest of society, denied adequate housing, healthcare, and education. For decades, efforts have been made throughout India to abandon the caste system. So officially, the caste system is illegal, but resistance to change is still strong in many facets of Indian society, and unofficially, the caste system remains. But Hinduism has worked through controversies before, and it's sure to be here for many centuries longer. If you're interested in spiritual growth, I highly recommend learning more about the religions that have survived the test of time and built civilizations as rich and complex as India. It's only by understanding the world religions from the viewpoint of those who believe, rather than the views of their competing religions, that we gain a better understanding of humanity and become better able to cooperate with each other. Thank you for listening. And now, before we extinguish the chalice, please remember to stay on for virtual coffee and conversation after our closing hymn. We extinguish the chalice here that it might glow gently in our hearts as we leave this place. And now for our closing words. After our closing words, Whitaker will play us out with hymn 178. With unity of spirit, we go our ways in universal fellowship until we meet again. So long.